All right, gang, we are going to take advantage of some of the beautiful New England weather to get some hip internal and external rotation going on outside before the New England weather sets in. For this exercise, you may need some supports if you're practicing at home. You may need a block, or might even be useful for you to just pause the video right now and get yourself a stack of books so that we can see if we can get you in a position, especially if you have limited hip mobility. So the position we're looking for is 90-90, which means that the right thigh comes out of your hip socket at a 90-degree angle, and you make a 90-degree angle at your knee. In this position, you should be able to rest the knee on the ground. If this is too intense of internal rotation for you, you can always prop that knee up with support from underneath it. Same position for that left leg, and remembering that it's not necessary for you to achieve 90-90 for you to be able to get benefit out of this position. If the position you can sit comfortably is more like a 70-70, a smaller angle, that is absolutely a-okay. The whole time we're working on this, you want to make sure that you are taking good care of yourself and taking into consideration the feedback that you're getting from your body, because we are not going to be able to make progress in your mobility if your body is constantly tensing or bracing for impact, bracing for injury. Now, for me, I'm going to stick a little something under here under my left knee. Hip external rotation is not my number one, so I'll need a little bit of support to be able to get some tactile feedback here when we get a little bit deeper in the exercises. So the first phase of this is simply to find a position where you can sit, and you can sit comfortably and stretching, and we always start out with 2 minutes. I'll talk to you for a little while longer while we get through those first 2 minutes together, just to get a little bit of a sense of why we do that position and why we do it for as long as we do. But for now, just take a moment here. You can always regress this position by moving away. You're noticing that your femur bone is internally rotating here on the right-hand side, the right leg, and externally rotating or turning outward. If that's something that's hard for you to visualize, imagine that you had drawn an X on top of your thigh. When you bring that leg down into the 90 position, you are internally or turning the X towards the inside. Same goes for this opposite leg. From an upright position, we would be turning the X to the outside. So we'll start in this position with the internal rotation. For most of us, this is the most difficult part. Most of us lack internal rotation, and a lot of us could use more external rotation, but internal is usually a place where it's a little more challenging. You can intensify that by bringing yourself a little bit more upright into the position, and what you're generally looking for in internal rotation is a sensation of this stuff around this general area getting a feeling of stretching. And we sit in that stretch position. This is for people who are lacking mobility. You don't have as much mobility as you need to move comfortably or to do the stuff you like to do in life. We spend time here in this position to give yourself, your body, some time to understand that you're looking for something from this joint that you don't currently have right now. You're looking for a little bit more. The other added benefit of internal rotation is that when we rotate your thigh inward, we are literally pulling along the lines, the way that the collagen, that hip joint capsule is created. We're actually pulling along that. So you're literally creating a feeling of stretching. Whereas in external rotation, those fibers in the hip capsule, they get a little bit, let's call it slack for lack of a better word. Now we're right around 2 minutes in this stretch position. So now that we've told the body we want something more from the hip here, we're going to challenge that end range. All of these muscles that you've been stretching here, we're going to squeeze those puppies by imagining that you could drive your back heel. For me, this is the right foot. Let's all start with the right leg and the internal into the ground. It's important the whole entire time that you keep contact with the inside of your right knee on the ground. So to start, pack air into your lower abdomen. That means press your diaphragm down, tighten the core muscle. So all the way around your belly and in your pelvic floor, as if you were trying to hold that pressure in. Press down through your fingertips into the ground, and just very slowly, like you're pushing a thumbtack into a bulletin board, begin to press your right ankle directly down into the ground, whether it's your floor, whether it's your lawn, whether you're at the beach. That's probably a little bit harder. Drive it down. Perhaps you're practicing on a yoga mat, and slowly turn that up. And as you increase the intensity to 20 and then 30% and then 40% of your greatest effort, notice that you have to start to recruit muscles from the rest of your body. Bring your butt into it and your back. Use your chest and your arms. Now we're at 50% and 60%, then 70. Let's go to your greatest, safest effort. Drive your ankle into the ground as strong and as hard as you can for 10 full counts. Push it down. 5, 4, drive it through the floor. 3, push it down. 2, and 1. Immediately, rails contraction, try to lift that foot off the ground. Some of you, it's going to come right up into the air. Get that lifting sensation. For most of us, is a cramp here in the hip. As hard as you can for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now relax the hip. Relax your ankle, and you may find that you could move a little bit deeper. If you've come way back here, you may be able to slide a little more forward so that you come back to a place where you're feeling a little bit of stretching. We're going to tell that hip once again, but we want to see if we could get just a little bit more. We're loading the joint. We're loading all the tissues that move and stabilize that joint to let it know where we want it to lay down new tissue, the way that we want that joint to behave. And one of the greatest benefits of doing this PAILs and rails work is when we're doing capsular work, when we're working on the actual joint capsule itself, we can go from a joint that moves like a rusty door without a lot of space in there to a joint that moves more comfortably because there is literally more space or more capacity for range or movement in that joint, which is an amazing thing. So let's try that again. So once again, you're going to press down into your fingertips, or here if you're in that front position. Pressurize the abdomen. And if you are wondering how to pressurize the abdomen, go back to our YouTube channel, look at the intra-abdominal pressure video, learn how to do that well. It's going to improve everything you do in your life, and begin to press down. So it's 10%, 20, keep your knee down, 30% of your strength, 40, energize the whole body, irradiate to the other muscle groups, use your shoulders, use your back, use your front leg, push down 60% all the way, 70%. Maybe today you've got 80, 90, 100. Your greatest, safest effort, push down 10, 9, drive your foot down, 8, 7, 6. That's it. Stick with it. 4, 3, 2, 1, and lift. Lift that heel off the ground. Try to get it to hover. If, like me, you cannot get it any deeper into IR, you're just trying to make it lighter. Lift it away from the floor, high as you can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax back into it. Now, when you have time to do this yourself and you've learned to do it at home, set yourself a timer. You've got an Apple Watch, go ahead and set the timer on your Apple Watch so that you can sit for 2 minutes in between these PAILs and rails contractions and get the most possible out of it. Now, just to make sure you've really upregulated that, we're going to try a little something, something. So lean back into your left hand and place the right hand under your ankle. We're going to lift that off the ground, flex your ankle, and then slowly lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You may have to come really far out to get that leg off the floor at all. Regress as far as you need to get off the ground. So once again, lift and hold it. Slowly lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow it down. Slow down as it comes to the ground. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last round. It's a hold. Hold it here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Settle it down. We're going to, because we're in this position and hips always need work, we are going to shift right into doing our PAILs and rails for external rotation because we've been sitting here in a stretch position for a good bit of time now. This hip is going to be ready for us to take some action. So turn and face that front leg, front hip, and see if you can ease yourself into a little more of a stretching feeling. The focus for this one, let me see if my French tuck is going to help, is into your back hip here. You should feel some general sensation of stretching, and make sure that you have something under this left knee so you have contact. If your knee is in the air, it doesn't touch the ground, just put a block under it or a book or ball up your sweatshirt. It really doesn't matter. And we'll get ourselves into a lean position so we have just a little bit more stretching. Again, trying to get that position where we're not rocked back on the back hip, but rather bringing your pelvis forward and squaring over that left leg. As long as you feel a sensation of stretching in this position, you're doing great. So while we hold this second stretch, I'll just talk about a little bit of the terminology we use here. And the two types of contractions we're doing are PAILs and rails contractions. So that stands for progressive angle, isometric loading. So progressive would be the one that is opening, the one that is increasing. And if you think about, let's say I was doing this with my arm, the closing angle, the regressive angle would be here on the inside of the elbow, and the opening angle, the one that's getting bigger, would be the back side. So in the hip joint, we are closing the front of the hip, that's the regressive side, and we're opening and stretching the back. So the first contraction is always the PAILs. And in that deep stretch, that's why we push down, as if we were trying to get out of the stretch. We take that action so that we're contracting the muscles that we're stretching here. And part of what's great about that is it's letting your body know that if, I was going to say a wolverine, but probably around here it's more likely a fisher cat ran out of the woods behind me, I would be able to drive into the ground, jump up, and go save my chickens. So when you do that, your brain suddenly thinks, all right, Sarah's got a lot of strength in this position. This is a place that we'll feel comfortable with her being. Maybe we'll give her a little bit more range, a little bit more mobility, a little bit more flexible. That's what we call owning your range. And then the second exercise, the second activity that we do here is the rails contraction, where we squeeze the regressive stuff. And instead of, like a lot of times you'll do in a yoga class, you'll fold forward into a stretch and relax there. This is the opposite. This is taking the muscles that close the joint. So that would be the inside of the elbow in this movement. We're taking those muscles and squeezing them to pull you deeper so that you own both what takes you in and also what takes you out. And so that puts us in a position where we are ready. We've done our 2-minute hold here so that we now are ready to drive into this one. So once again, left knee stays in connection to the floor or the block or the books, and we'll begin to drive your left heel into the ground. So very slowly, start very slowly and easily, press your diaphragm down, energize through the abdomen, and start to push your left ankle into the floor. If that leads you to want to lift up your left knee, change what you're doing. Alter the course so you're getting the most you can. And you'll feel, turn it up to 20 and maybe 30, a contraction on the outside of that left hip. Radiate, use your back, use your arms, use your trail leg, drive your back knee into the ground and push 50% of your strength. 60, use 70%. Now hit me with your greatest, safest effort. Drive your ankle into the ground for 10, 9. Picture that the ground was made out of spun sugar glass, right? And break the sugar glass for 4. Push it down. 3, 2, 1. And without changing position, rails contraction, lift that ankle into the air. Pick it up. Think of turning your thigh out. Turn the X towards the floor behind you. Lift your foot off the ground. Lift your ankle into the air. 5, 4, 3. Use your strength. 2, 1. And relax. And as you relax into this position, test it out. Neurologically, did your body give you just a little bit more? Maybe 10%, maybe 15% more stretch, more range here. So allow yourself to breathe. Now, sometimes, especially when you first start doing these exercises, you might get a feeling like cramping or nausea, just a little bit discomfort as you're using your body in a way you haven't before. You have a really, really great tool right in the center of your face. So go ahead and close your lips. Take a deep breath in. And a slow breath out through your nose. So the nose is awesome, it's a filter, but your nose is also awesome because nasal breathing helps to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. That's the stuff that calms you down. That's your rest and digest, right, stuff. That's not your fight or flight. So we're going to go ahead and go into our PAILs and rails contractions again. So pack air into your abdomen, strengthen and pressurize your core, and begin to press down 10%. 20, drive your left ankle into the floor. 30%, feel it in the outside of your hip. 40%, radiate. 50, use your back. 60, push down, give it 70%. Maybe it's 80, 90, 100%, your greatest, safest effort. Drive your ankle to the ground for 10, 9, 8, break through the floor. 7, 6, push down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails, knee down, heel up, lift it. Turn your thigh out, lift. 9, 8, stronger. 7, 6, higher. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax, settle in. Allow yourself to breathe here. Big inhale through the nose. Slow exhale through the nose. Big inhale through your nose. Slow exhale through your nose. And if you're someone with a lot of room to grow in terms of your capacity for movement, you can take a full 2 minutes right here as well. For those of you who are super flexible already, it's the PAILs and the rails, it's the contracting that are more important for you. So we'll go ahead and either bring your left hand out to the left just a little bit if you couldn't hover this foot, or you can always drop all the way down to your opposite elbows to get yourself in a position where you can get that leg off the floor and slowly lower down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My feet are dirty. Pick it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again. 5. Hold it. 4. Down. 3, 2, 1. Again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it in the air. Hold it still. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Settle that foot down. Come back to your upright position. Turn to face the front. And we'll take right knee up and all the way down. Rotate all the way up and all the way down. I'm going to take that 5 times. All the way up. Challenge your end range. All the way down. All the way up. All the way down. This time, pick it all the way up. And just see if you could actually go a little farther than you had before. And when you run out of range, you can't go any farther, allow that back knee to come with you. Someday you'll do this without using your hands on the ground at all, and we'll pull your knees up, over, and across to the other side, and just double check. Get yourself set in position, and settle yourself right into that position once again. 90 degrees here, if you can handle it. 90 degrees here. Always okay for this back leg to be tucked in a little bit more, for your angles to look closer to 70 or 60 than they look to 90 degrees. And once again, for me, that knee doesn't touch the ground, so I'll stick my prop back under there. It just so happens to be my running shoe because it is the perfect size for me and for my body. And then we'll settle in to our internal rotation on the left-hand side. So once again, we're going to take that 2-minute rest here, or the 2-minute stretch. And to deepen the way that you are in the posture, it's a rotation to the front. So turn as if you're going to face the camera or face your eyes towards that leg. And this is the part where really beginning to tune into yourself is so important in this practice, because only you are going to know when it's too much. And a good way to tune into that and see, am I doing something that's a little bit beyond, right? Am I somebody who's a little bit on the type A or side of things, is to just check in with your breath. Can you breathe calmly? Can you go back to that yoga breath? Inhale by the nose. Exhale by the nose. Calm and slow. Shouldn't be any feeling right here of like adrenaline in your body. If that's the feeling you're getting, regress out of it a little bit so that you're at a place where you can feel the stuff stretching, but you don't feel like the world is ending, right? And we'll simply breathe here. These are great exercises to do, like if your family's all watching a show together, just jump on the floor, because there'll be plenty of time and it's plenty entertaining. So when you set the watch, the kids are feeding the goats right now. That's the noise you guys can hear in the background. When you set your watch for that 2-minute time, the 2 minutes will fly by, and then you simply pails and rails and you're ready to rock and roll. So if you're struggling, like you know you need this stuff, but you haven't been doing it, a great way to do it is to just find yourself with something that you can do that's going to distract you. One of my teachers, Moses Bernard, you always see him on his stories. He does high-speed pails and rails just to show everybody that he's still doing it and still working this stuff every day. And he is on his phone the whole time. So just video recording himself, checking his phone, scrolling through social media, right? Responding to some emails, whatever's going to get you to stay in this position. Because a lot of the work stuff, a lot of the places where we actually create change in the body, it happens in the boring stuff, which is what we're doing right here. This boring stuff of sitting in a stretch position. So now just bring that attention back as we wrap up the first 2 minutes to where you're feeling it, because these are the muscles that you're going to squeeze when you do the PAILs contraction. Now, we talked last time, PAILs is the progressive angle, rails is the regressive angle. And so when we go into the second round, now that you guys know how it goes, 10 seconds full PAILs, 10 seconds full rails, it's like this. We're going to go from PAILs directly into the rails. So pack air into your abdomen, brace yourself, strengthen up, and begin to 10% left ankle into the ground, 20%, 30. As if the floor was made out of clay, 40. And you could dent your ankle into the floor. Use 50%. Irradiate, push into the floor, 60%. 70. 80. Your greatest, safest effort. Drive that ankle right into the floor. Keep your knee in contact. 10. Use your strength. 9. 8. Drive it down. Concentration. Determination. For 5. Push it down. 4. 3. 2, 1, rails, pick it up. Lift that ankle into the air. And it doesn't even matter if you get that sucker up. Squeeze all this stuff and try to rotate more. Lift it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, I'm getting a cramp. 1, relax your hip. And if you get a cramp, relax into the stretch. Your tendency is going to be to try to get away from the cramp. See if you can stay still and breathe. Inhale by the nose and exhale by the nose. I have good news. The more that you do this, the less cramps, the fewer cramps you'll get. You really get fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer the more you do it. What tends to happen for us is as we go to a new place that we've never done it before, there can sometimes be a little confusion between the signal to contract and then the messages that are coming back to the brain. So that's pretty much like as close as we can get to explaining it at this point. But it's not because something's wrong with you, and it's not because you're hurt or you're broken. And before we start our second Pails and Rails, I just want to loop back to, we've talked about this in the morning routine before. I want to loop back to that concept of your greatest, safest effort. Now, if you're recovering from an injury, you may be Pails and Railsing at like 10 to 30% of your strength. And that's A-okay. Your greatest, safest effort is the effort you can do today without getting a feeling of deep pain or like you're hurting yourself. Remembering that there's a difference between I'm uncomfortable and this isn't my favorite thing and pain. We all know what pain is. And pain is a signal that you always listen to. It's information from your body. You all ready? Pack air into your abdomen, radiate through your fingertips, press down 10%, 20, turn it up, 30, go slowly, 40%, 50, even stronger, 60%, use the rest of your body, 70, 80%, 90%, everything you have, your safest, greatest effort, 10, 9, push it down, 8, try to turn out of the stretch, 6, 5, drive it down, 4, stick with it, 3, 2, 1, rails it up, pick it up, 9, 8, squeeze, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax it down. And see if you can ease a little deeper into the stretch and breathe. Big inhale by the nose, slow exhale by the nose. Big inhale by the nose, slow exhale by the nose. Do you ever notice that like when you walk for more than a half an hour at a time, your like lower back or your hip starts to hurt? This is what's going to help with that. If you don't have internal rotation in your hip, even walking is difficult. And then you're like, but why do I have knee problems? And why does my back hurt all the time? And why do I have chronic sacroiliac issues, right? If you don't have everybody in the chain doing their job, then we're going to have issues at some point. If somebody is getting required to do a job that they're not good at, right? If we have the phlebotomist doing the open heart surgery, eventually something's going to go wrong, even if she has good luck the first couple of times, right? So we're going to regress a little bit here. You can take the hand to the side or to the back. Get yourself to a position where you can get that leg into the air. Take it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As high as you can do it. Even if that's more than I can do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You'll notice a big difference here between your passive, how high you can lift yourself, 5, and your active, 4, 3, 2, 1. The part where you can control it. Take it up. Try to hold without losing any range here. 5, 4, in the air, 3, 2, slowly lower it down. Settle back to your upright position and rotate. We'll hit ER on the opposite leg. So just taking this forward here. I guess everybody's coming over to visit us all of a sudden. Chickens are nice to have around when you're doing Pails and Rails because they're always doing interesting things. I once watched a chicken eat an entire toad. Just one swallow, ooh, right down her throat. And then we'll breathe here into this position. Remembering too to just tap into yourself. We're really trying to, as we do this, as much as possible, uncouple the movements of different joints. So the rotation of this hip and the rocking of your pelvis forward should have nothing to do with your back. So you're not deeper into this stretch if you're hunched over your leg. We're really looking to keep your back out of it. So you'll strengthen and tighten here so that you can simply lean or hinge yourself into that stretching position. And as we sit here in this first preliminary stretch, just notice where is it that you feel it in your body. The stretching for most of us comes to the back and the outside of the right hip that we're targeting right here. And you might even feel it up the backside of your hamstring where it attaches. Maybe even a little bit deeper. And the coolest part about that is it doesn't actually matter which muscles you feel it in, because the muscles that you feel it in are the muscles that you need help with. So that's so simple. If you feel a stretch, you can pails and rails it anytime, anywhere. So let's get ourselves set up into this position, squaring over that front leg and trying to keep yourself squared. The way out, the regression is back here. So we're always trying to stay forward in position, keeping contact with your right knee against the floor or the block or the stack of books you've used. Begin to strengthen through your abdomen, tighten and pressurize, and press your right ankle into the ground. Pressing away or out of the stretch, come up to 20%, slowly 30. Don't go spinal tap, 40%. 50, crank it up, 60%, using your back now, 70. What about your back leg, 80? Your greatest, safest effort. Try to swing your leg through the ground. Drive it down in there. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails, pick it up. Lift it off the ground. It doesn't matter if it comes. Feel all this inside regressive stuff squeezing. You've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the part where you have to actively relax. Big breath in. Slow breath out. Always breathing through your always breathing through your nose to soothe that, to start that calming sensation in your body, stimulating vagus nerve. And maybe you find that you could ease a little bit more into that stretchy feeling. Still strong through the abdomen. You don't have to brace quite like you do when you do your pails and rails, but just making sure that you're not sinking into a habit of either arching or rounding to get into it. And then we'll begin to ramp this one up once again. Very strong through the belly. Press your diaphragm down. Tighten the walls of your core and press your right ankle into the ground. 10% of your strength. 20. Push the thumbtack right into the bulletin board. Irradiate. Use your back leg, 40%. 50. Use your back. 60. Use your shoulders, 70%. 80. Give it to me. 90. Everything you have, 10. 9. Push it down, 8. 7. You've got this. 6. Drive it down. 5. 4. Stick with it. 3. 2. 1. Rails. Turn it out. Lift the heel off the ground. Lift your right ankle as high as you can. Turn your right thigh open. 5, 4, bring it higher. 3, 2, 1. Settle it down. Relax. Maybe even you have that capacity for a little bit deeper so that your body and your tissues are stronger and more resilient and more mobile, more fluid and pain-free as much as you possibly can. So for us too, if you couldn't get that ankle off the ground, if you can and you can lift it here, great. If you can't, you'll need to regress. Either take your backhand and slide it farther away from your body and lean into it, or you may want to lay all the way down right onto your elbow. If that's what it takes, but you can get your foot up, great. We're going to do whatever it takes to feel that and see if you can own it. Hold it, lower slowly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pick it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No more lower. Hold it as high as you can. Ready, steady. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Settle it down. We'll turn it back to the front and practice with the left leg all the way up, as high as it goes. Go a little spider. You don't want to get squished by my knee. All the way down. Take it all the way up and all the way down. And as you come up, think, I'm going to get a little more range this time. All the way up, reach for it. All the way down. All the way up. What do you got? All the way down. Again, all the way up. And if you want to try this, you can try it with your no hands, or you can irradiate through your fist. Take it as far out as is possible, as far as it'll go. And when it won't go any farther, allow the right knee to come with you. Take it all the way around to the other side. And we have one more responsibility for ourselves to do here. We need to upregulate this information to your brain because we have formed new range today. We have increased your capacity. So we need to make sure that your sensory and your motor cortexes in your brain know all the new cool stuff that you can do, so that when you step out of the car or when you take a new move on the tennis court, your body knows, hey, this is a range we own, or this is a place that we can go, so that you are stronger, more agile, and more resilient. So everybody up, we're going to do our global hip cars. You know what, let's go ahead and get into a hands and knees position for this one, since we are outside. Palms flat, quadruped position. Again, we're going to strengthen through the core, so tighten down your belly. I need a tighter shirt for this exercise. And then draw your left knee up into your chest, and we'll take it open to the side. As far as it'll go as if you're opening a door. Internally rotate, turn your heel to the sky, and sweep your knee around behind you, making as big a circle as you possibly can without arching into your back at all. So stay tight through your core, pull knee up to your chest. Let's do that again in that same direction. Take it out, internally rotate, sweep it back behind you. Try to touch all of the articular surfaces of that joint and bring your knee back around, up and in. Brace the front line, bring your knee back. Now opposite direction, knee as high as it'll go, externally rotate. And reach, sweep without a side bend. Try to touch knee to your shoulder and then down to the center line. Take it back. Externally rotate and reach. Each time you do these global cars, trying to carve out just a little bit more space. Let's take one more each direction. So now it's in, out, internal, sweep, all the way around, up to your chest, opposite direction. Reach your knee behind you, turn it out. Fight for that next degree of range. Knee to shoulder, knee to center, and down. I'll take an opposite position for the next round. You can stay right where you're at, just to see if this visual is a little bit easier for you to see. Bring your right knee forward and open it out to the side. Internally rotate means get that knee heel high, but keep your knee high and reach your knee behind you, creating as big a circle as you possibly can. Pull through all the way and open to the right. From this open position, internally rotate, reach your knee around, all the way around behind you, knee into your chest, neutral through your spine, switch, take it back, hip extension. This is for all my yogis who want the split. External rotation, fight knee to shoulder. That's the ticket. Take it back. Turn your thigh out. Turn the X to the right wall in the room you're in right now. Fight knee to shoulder, knee to center. Let's put those two together. Bring it forward. Take it out. This is your fire hydrant. Internally rotate. Yes, find those muscles you just worked. Turn it in. Turn it in. Turn it out, turn it into sauerkraut. Take it forward, switch directions, back. Externally rotate, bring it all the way forward, down, and in. And you've gotten your work for the day in with those hips. Try this once a week. You're going to see big changes. Try it 3 times a week. You'll see even more.